Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto Was Given a Second Chance. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go on and check out the new episode of What If Naruto Learned the Clone Technique from the beginning, and enjoy that guys. And later on I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was the Otsutsuki King. So stay tuned for that, and I do hope that you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So without further ado, what is we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, Naruto knew that something was up with Kurama, as he was much darker than usual, and his tone, the way he just spoke, it was different. As Kurama explained to him that he was the other half, when he was split, when his father put him inside of him. This was a good side that went with him, and the other side got sealed away in the Shinigami's stomach, along with his father, as Naruto already knew about his mother and father's death. As Kurama even seemed saddened by that, but Naruto told him that he is okay with it. He's lived a long life, and he come to terms with it a long time ago. As Kurama was surprised to hear about this, the god of death really giving someone else a second chance. That was really surprising. Naruto was even more surprised when he found out about his house where he lived. It seems like people has been breaking into his house, so the Hokage gave him this mansion. A rather large compound behind the monument. It seems it was his mother and father's house, but Sarutobi went in there and cleaned up the entire place, removing all of the pictures, anything to show identification to Minato or Kushina, saying that he doesn't want Naruto to get any idea on his parents yet, for the other nations, if anything, to slip, especially Hidden Stone, to come after Naruto. As Naruto learned he had a caretaker, it was Yujiro, the Anbu. As at first he didn't really care. After all, he was still a grown-up, trapped in a kid's body. But to come home and see her there cooking for him, and told him to go and get washed up, it warmed his heart. After going to school and seeing Sakura and Sasuke again, it made his skin boil. His entire skin just felt irritated, his blood was boiling, as he wanted them to die. Looking at them, his uncontrollable rage was coming back, as Kurama had to tell him to calm down. Seeing that Naruto was taking the fox attributes, his eyes becoming slitted red, Naruto calmed himself, as he told himself this was another time. They haven't done anything wrong yet. For the next 1 month and 29 days, Naruto trained. He trained as hard as possible, trying to get his body back into fighting shape, even though his body was ridiculously weak and small right now. Seeing that in the past, Naruto was rather great in Fuinjutsu, he already applied seals to himself to help him with his speed and his strength. And coming to Sage Mode, it was hard to controlling his body. He could barely use it for a small amount of time, but you'll have to work on that some more. Naruto here has also grown out, as he preferred this way, seeing that it was his hair that got him his name. Moving so fast, all they saw was his hair color, the yellow blur. As Naruto already come to terms to everything, if he cannot stop Sasuke from getting the curse mark, or cannot stop Sasuke from staying in the village, if he see that they're going down that same path, he will kill the both of them. So yeah guys, that was basically last where we left off. You guys can switch across the page and check it out for yourself. So, what is we begin this new episode? It was currently early in the morning, around 3 AM, as Naruto was currently lying down in his bed, his window wide open, as a cool rushing breeze was coming in, the moonlight shining down on his face. Naruto's door slowly opened as a person stepped inside, pulling something from their pouch. The moonlight glistened on it as the person reached up and brought it down towards Naruto's face. Snapping open his eyes, he grabbed the person's hand as he looked the person dead in the eyes. Really? As Eugeo looked at him, she had a scissors in her hand as she looked at his hair that was spread out across the bed. I told you, I don't like it that way, she said. Naruto face palm at that. It is my hair, he said. And you're not gonna cut it. Why not, she said. You always allow me to cut it anyway. But now you're just being stubborn. What's wrong with you, she asked. I'm not being stubborn. I told you I like it this way. When since, she asked. I was always the one that cut it for you. And now you won't let me cut it. I prefer it short, she said. Well, I prefer it long, Naruto said, as he pulled the scissors away from her, as he picked himself up. What are you even doing here? What time is it? He said. Oh, I just came back from a mission, she said. I decided to check up on you. I'll probably even sleep here. Hayate is out on a mission. I'm not gonna be in the village for at least a week or two. So yeah, it's pretty lonely staying alone, she said. So how about it, she said. Can I stay here? Naruto sighed. You know I'm not gonna turn you down, he said. Why bother asking? She removed her boots. What are you doing, Naruto said. I'm too tired to go anywhere else, she said. But you had the energy to cut my hair. Well, I wasn't going to mess up. I was going to cut it good for you, she said. Turn it back short and normal. Well, I hate it that way. When since, she asked. I just have a change of heart, Naruto said, as she plopped in the bed. Hey, Naruto said. Come on, it's a big bed. Scooch over, she said. As Naruto went over, she pulled the sheet over herself, as he grumbled a bit and pulled some back over herself. Despite this and this acting, this girl was really precious to him. Even though he has the hormones of a 17-year-old, looking at her, she just looked like a mixture of a mother to a bigger sister. As she yawned and stretched. Man, I have a difficult day, she said. Then stop working in Anbu, Naruto said. And why would I do that? You know I love it there. You know I heard that Kakashi-senpai is going to become a Jonin teacher. He's highly going to become mine, Naruto said. Oh, and why is that, she asks. Well, given that he has a Sharingan, he's probably going to be teaching Sasuke, seeing that Sasuke is the best in the class, and I am probably the worst. We are going to be placed on a team, and Kakashi is going to be our sensei. Wait a minute. How do you know about the Sharingan, she said. Naruto stopped for a moment. Oh, I heard about it, rumors and all that. Oh, she said. Wait, another thing. Why are you hiding your real skills, she asked. What do you mean by that, Naruto said. I mean, I've trained you. Well, not a lot, but I've showed you the basics. Recently you have changed. I don't know what's it about, but you have changed. And you still haven't told me where you got those swords from. I know you're not a person to steal, but you're not telling me where you got them from. Those swords are highly detailed and well made. They were not cheap. Well, I do have a large sum of money getting from the old man. Oh yeah, you do get money every month, but still, those swords look like they were well crafted, and you work with them so well. And how do you know that, Naruto said. Oh, I secretly spy and watch you one day. But you know I was there. Huh? And how could you tell, he asked. Because I saw you looking at me, glancing in the direction that I was. For a kid your age to be able to sense me, even though I was hiding myself. I would say you're pretty skilled, even better than the Uchiha. So why are you hiding your real skill? Well, deception is the best thing for a ninja to have. Don't go speaking in sage words on me, I'm older than you. You're the one who should be taking my advice, she said. If you say so, he said. I'm gonna be having a big day tomorrow, so good night. Yeah, good night, she said. She stretched. He then felt the arm wrapped around him as she pulled him in close. Hey, just be quiet, she said, as she yawned. as the both of them end up falling asleep. Time skip. Yuchio yawned as she slowly opened her eyes. What time is it, she said. Turning over towards the clock on the nightstand, she realized it was 6 o'clock. Now, where is he, she said, looking around. As she saw a note. Went out for some last minute prepping up. Wish me luck today. That bastard, she said. He left so early. I didn't even get to hug him and tell him good luck on becoming a genin today. Well, I wish you all luck, Naruto, she said with a smile on her face. Ever since meeting this boy, and the relationship growing into this motherly older sister bond, she has felt rather complete with her life. She had Hayate, she had Naruto, she had her job of being an Anbu. Her life just seemed rather perfect. As she shut her eyes and went to sleep, the time was still early. Meanwhile, Naruto was walking through the forest of death. The sun was barely up as he heard all of the roosters. Come on, where is she? He said, as he started to look around through the forest of death. One person that he has not seen since he returned back to his timeline. Hey kid, who are you looking for? Kurama asked. Oh, a rather special friend of mine. What special friend? Said Kurama. Oh, you're gonna find out when you see her, Naruto said. I guess she found me. Naruto saw a black blur shot past his vision. He then felt something wrapped around him, restraining him, as he heard a soothing tone at his ear. Well, you must be a really brave or stupid kid to be entering the forest of death in this time of the day. You know you can get yourself killed, right? Only Chunins, high-level Chunins with supervision and Jonins can be in here. So what are you thinking, stupid kid? Anko narrowed her eyes at the boy in front of her, despite being wrapped up in her snake. And she flashed in behind him so fast he was sure that he didn't see her. He showed no outward reaction, like he was scared. He didn't even flinch. She then noticed a blonde hair, as she wondered, well, to ordinary kids this might seem scary, Naruto said, but nah, to me it seemed like a normal forest, or rather a big jungle, something that you rather seem to like, Uncle-san. Oh, so you know my name. Well, I guess you have me at a disadvantage because I don't know anything about you. First, can you release me, Naruto asked. Please? Well, when you say it so nice, Uncle said. As the snake released Naruto, as Naruto slowly turned and gave Anko a smile, looking her over. As we dived into Naruto's mind, it was his timeline. His Anko door was smashed open, with two people pushing themselves inside wildly, as they were kissing ferociously, destroying things over the apartment. As Naruto propped Anko up and placed her on a table, as he started to make out her furiously. This was the older Naruto, as he had met Anko in the forest of death, and they started a kind of weird relationship, where the both of them just blow off steam and using each other for just sex. That was the kind of relationship they had. But other than that, despite having sex and being sex buddies, they were rather close friends. Naruto picked Anko up as she giggled, as he started to bring her to the bedroom, making out with her the entire time. As we dived back out of his mind. Oh, so that's what you mean, special friend, said Kurama. You saw that, said Naruto. Well, of course I did, said Kurama. Wait, you're telling me that the other one saw when I had... Yeah, and he was always really quiet, said Naruto. That perv must be in there watching me. Well, I'm not a perv, said Kurama, so don't think I'm gonna be sitting down and watching you. I have other things to do. If you say so, said Naruto. Naruto felt a hand poked him in the forehead, as he blinked a few times. Are you still with me, Anko asked. I thought I lost you there for a minute or two. Nah, I'm fine, Naruto said. As Naruto looked her over. Hey, what's with that look, she said. You know, to be looking at someone like that with those kind of eyes. Despite being a young kid, that look is very different. Most kids don't have it, she said. Like you know what you're thinking. And you're thinking something rather perverted, she said. Are you? She asks, in a rather sultry tone. And what if I am? Naruto said. I mean, who wouldn't think something about you? Just look at you. You're hot. Anko was taken aback. Was this a little kid? Looking at him, as most kids never speak to her that way. Well, most kids she talked to was scared of her. Well, most people in general. But this kid, I mean, God, Naruto said, snapping her from her thoughts. Just look at you. Perky breasts, a nice figure, and all around, a wonderful shape, he said. I mean, it will be any man's dream to die to have you, he said. Oh, sweet talker, are we? Anko then slid behind him, as she pressed her chest into his back. Well, it's a shame you're too young, kid. If you were older, me and you would be having some good time, she said. Well, can't you wait for me, he asked. You did the last time, he muttered to himself. What was that, she said. Oh, nothing, he said. But, I heard the first part, she said. So you want me to wait for you? You're rather different from any other kid I've met here, or anywhere, before. But looking at you now I can tell. You're that kid that Yuji-chan has been taking care of. Yuji-chan? Yes. You might know her as Yujiro. She's my best friend after all. Oh, she probably told you about me, that is why you're acting this way. Because you know my tendency, right? Nah. This is just how I speak, Naruto said. Oh really now? So you're always this smooth, she asks. Well, if you say so, Naruto said, I'll take it as a compliment. As Anko rested her head right on his shoulder, her back still pressing into him, she was confused. Who was this kid really? He was not getting flustered one bit. His heart rate was rather calm, not even jumping the slightest. She released him with a small chuckle. Well, I must say you're something else. But I have to thank you. You brought Yuji-chan great happiness. You know, she loves you a lot. On our girls' day out, she always talk about you. But I never gotten around to meet you before. I'm glad I did, she said. You're one charming fellow. Oh, thank you, Naruto said. And well, you can thank her as well because she's wonderful. She's like a older sister or a mother to me. I can't really place which one, he said. But yeah, she's very precious to me. You can say she's one of my precious people. I can tell. You're very precious to her as well. So, tell me, what are you doing in here? Actually, I was looking for you, Naruto said. I have heard some rumors that Orochimaru used to be your former sensei. Anko looked at him differently for a while. Her tone, her entire manner completely changing. She knew that this boy had the Kyuubi inside of him. To think of it now, he probably went through the same life as her. Before. Yujiro. And everything. But he's probably still getting some discrimination from the people. Yeah. What about it, she asks. Well, I heard he placed a mark on you before he left. Anko narrowed her eyes at him. So, you did your research, she said. Her tone, now sounding completely different. It was like she felt vulnerable. And Naruto knew that. She didn't like when people talk about her mark. Her hand subconsciously went up and touched her neck. So what about it, she asks. Hey, can you keep a secret, Naruto asks her. What kind of secret? What if I told you I could remove that mark? Anko growled at him. Kid, you're funny and all, but don't go around playing jokes like this. You will get hurt, she said. Oh, I'm not kidding. And I'm not kidding, kid, she said. I don't want to hear a joke like this from you. We've just met, and you seem like a nice kid. To think, not even a great. Jiraiya-sama can remove this mark. But you're walking around thinking that you can do something you can't. When you can't do something, don't talk about it that way. Naruto sighed as he reached into his pouch. As he pulled out a slip of paper with some strange markings on it. What's that? She asks. Uncle, look me in the eyes, he said. I know you know who I am. That I have the fox inside of me, right? What are you talking about, Uncle said. You don't have to play dumb. I know it's a secret for no one to know, but no one is out here. She grabbed him as she flashed away with him, bringing him deeper into the forest. As they came to a stop. Listen, I don't want to get into any trouble, she said. But how do you know about that? Don't tell me. Did Yuji-chan tell you? She knows she can get into a lot. No. She doesn't know that I know, Naruto said. Don't worry. I have my own ways of finding out. You're one mysterious kid, you know that? Look at me. You know I've went through a lot of discrimination because of what I held. And I know you went through the same. Being all alone. Mostly spending your time in the forest of death because you don't. And you hate to be around people. Except for the few friends you have. Most people look at you with shame. And fear. Thinking that one day the traitor will come back. Especially to you because you are being marked by him. Uncle looked down. How do you know that, she said. It was like this kid was reading her like a book. It's because I felt the same way before, he said. Before I had no one. So, I need you to trust me. Trust you about what? Just do it, okay? I have a way to remove that mark from your neck. She looked at him. Listen, kid. I know that you want to help and all, but I told you Jiraiya-sama failed to remove this mark. He doesn't really know anything about it, so how? How would you be able to remove this mark? Well, I've been studying Fuinjutsu. I know you want to help, but I can't risk my life by letting you tamper with this mark. Then it ends up killing me. You doing something foolish or something like that. Naruto sighed. Just give me a chance, Uncle. I promise. This is going to be over in probably 5 seconds. Just by adding this paper to your neck. And me doing a few hand signs. And you'll be perfectly fine. Uncle looked at him. I can't do that, she said. You're just a kid. Naruto sighed. Just give me a chance. And I promise you, I know how much you hate that mark. I will remove it. Uncle looked at him. As she looked at the piece of paper, how did you come up with this, she said. Well, after I heard that you were Yujito's friend and all about your mark, I went into deep research about curse marks and all that. And I found something that would really help to counteract the seal. I created my own seal to do it. Uncle looked at him, hesitation in her eyes. Do you really think this can work, she asked. Just trust me, Naruto said. Uncle looked at him. Kid, if you end up killing me, I'm coming back from the grave to haunt you, she said. As Naruto smiled, she was still hesitant. But even though she wanted to get rid of this seal so badly, he was just a kid. What if he slips up or something? As Naruto held her hand, as she looked down at him, she felt a strange warmth, a comfort. Just trust me, he said to her. As Uncle nodded, she didn't know why, but her body was telling her to relax. Knowing that she might change her mind at any second, knowing of the kind of person Uncle is, Naruto wasted no time as he grabbed the paper and placed it on her neck. The paper dissolved into her skin and a seal and a ray spread across her skin. Uncle collapsed to her knees as she started to cry out in pain. As Naruto slammed his hands together, he then slammed his hand down on the seal as he started to pour his chakra into it. Naruto chakra started to fight Orochimaru chakra in dominance, ripping and tearing right through the seal. Naruto has already done this before, so it was just thinking and remembering what he did and recreating that seal to remove this seal. This went on for a good 50 seconds as Uncle was on the ground in pain, trying to hold in the scream as she thought that she was going to die, thinking how stupid she could have been to trust a kid like this. What was she thinking? As the pain then started to wear away. Lifting up her head, she saw Naruto smiling down on her. Her body was too exhausted for her to move. As he reached into his pouch and pulled out a small handheld mirror and gave it to her. Anko raised the mirror up. Tears started to come from her eyes. She saw nothing. Nothing was there. How? She said, as Naruto kneeled down, looking her directly in the eyes. I know you probably have a lot of questions, but I need you to keep this a secret, he says. He reached into his pouch. He pulled out a small pill. Before she could ask, he propped it right into her mouth. Not having enough energy to fight back, he just nodded. He has done something good so far, so she swallowed the pill, as she felt a burst of chakra flooding through her system, as it gave her a jolt, making her jump up a bit. What was that? Can't tell you, Naruto said. As Anko looked at herself, it's really gone. Tears still streaming from her eyes. Tell me, how did you do it? I told you, I've been studying Fuinjutsu. You really did it, Anko, Naruto said. You can't tell anyone about this. Why? I have to, she said. You saved me. Well, I'm not asking you not to tell anyone forever, but just until I get a bit older. Huh? Well, when I do get a bit older. So when I do get older, people know that I'm deep in Fuinjutsu, so they wouldn't question why an adult learn how to remove the seal from your neck. But they will have too much question for why a child can remove it. But why can you, Anko said. How did you do it, she said. As Naruto stepped forward, looking at her. We share something of the same burden. And I tell you, I can't tell you. I just need you to trust me. Can you please do that for me, he asked. Anko went quiet for a few seconds. I won't tell anyone, she said. As she smiled at him. You've given me something I wanted to be removed from me for a long time. And for that, I respect your wishes and I won't tell a soul. Thank you, Naruto said. Just give me a few years to get a bit older, okay? But now you don't have to worry, knowing that you're marked by that disgusting snake pedophile. I won't, she said. Well, I gotta get going, Naruto said. Graduation day and all. Anko thought to herself, it's Naruto, yeah. Thank you, Naruto, she said. Yeah, no problem, Naruto said. I'll be back soon to visit you, okay? See you, Anko-chan, he said. As Anko smiled hearing the suffix. Despite being a kid, she didn't feel like he was a kid. Just who the hell was that? As she touched her neck, looking at it to see if this was a dream, she pinched herself. Ouch, she said. She started to cry even more. It wasn't a dream. Later that day, the children were in the classroom. Ino and Sakura as usual were bickering over who get to sit beside Sasuke. As everyone heard the door slide open, everyone turned and looked in shock, confused what they were looking at. Could that really be? Well, the thing is, Naruto hasn't been to school in the month since he was here. It was a clone. Every day that he had to go to school, he sent a clone. Yet none of them has seen the real Naruto. And the clone had on a hench to make him look like the goofy Naruto. So standing at the door, all of them were shocked, speechless to see this long-haired blonde kid. His face even looking more muscular, seen from the intense training Naruto put his body through. It didn't look that much different, but you could see a few shapes and sizes here and there. The baby fat seemed to be reducing. Naruto was wearing a tight bodysuit black shirt that could show off his small pecs, even though he was still small. He was kind of ripped for a kid his age. Well, after 1 month, 29 days of intense training, you had to show some body changes. And seeing that the Kyuubi is usually fluctuating his yokai through Naruto's system, It made Naruto's body even more healthy than usual, as this Kurama is really hell-bent on helping him. And yeah, it's helped him a lot, as he was wearing a black cloak over that. You could see in the center of his cloak is black, but his tight shirt. He was wearing long black pants and black boots. He was wearing 2 wrist guards on his arms. On his shirt, he had 2 Uzumaki swirl on the side of it. He had on white fingerless gloves with a black Uzumaki swirl on the top of it. As everyone looked at him as he walked to his seat, his 2 swords strapped to his back, showing off the dragon mouth, as they all looked at him rather confused. As Sakura then scoffed, given the fact that Naruto hasn't been talking to her. Well, he hasn't really said a word to her for at least a month now. He just probably wants you to think that he's cool, so you will talk to him and ask him out on a date or something. Don't even look at him, said inner Sakura. Yeah, you're right, Sakura said. Besides, despite changing a bit, Sasuke-kun is still the coolest. But Ino wasn't thinking the same thing. Whoa, when did Naruto get so hot, she thought, as she looked at Naruto. Seeing her looking at him, Naruto winked at her, making Ino blush, as she turned her head. Ino then started to walk away. Hey Ino, Sakura said, what's wrong? You can sit there, said Ino. I'll find somewhere else to sit. As Ino walked off, there was an empty seat right next to Naruto, as she calmly took it. She didn't say anything, but she could feel his eyes on her. Why is he looking at me that way, she thought. And what happened to him? And how did he change so quickly, she thought to herself. I mean, he looks even hotter than Sasuke. Is that even possible, she thought. She never really looked or focused on Naruto, but seeing him now, god damn, she said to herself. She shook her head. I'm probably just overthinking things, she thought. Naruto reached up as he removed his blades with a sheet on them, placing them to the corner. Whoa, nice sword, she said. Huh, you like them? Yeah, they're pretty cool, she said. I never knew you used sword, especially in the academy. I never seen you use a weapon before. Just something new I'm trying out, he said. Well, they certainly fit you, especially matching with your new color. And you're here, she said. Can I? As Naruto nodded, she reached up and touched it. Her hand just went through it like butter. So silky. I must say, this new look of yours, where did it come from? I mean, I only saw you last week, before the break, and you didn't look anything like this. Naruto looked at her. I can't reveal all my secrets, no can I, he said. Well, I suppose you can, said Ino. Sakura was sitting down and she wasn't even paying attention to Sasuke. What is going on, she said. Is Ino flirting with Naruto? Why? Why would she flirt with a baka like that? Meanwhile, Sasuke was also curious to what was going on with the dope. How did the dope manage to change so quickly? In just a few days, how could someone grow their hair out so quickly? They then heard the door slide open. Alright, good morning everyone, said Iruka. Everyone heard Iruka stop. Naruto? As Naruto turned to look toward Iruka. Is that you? Iruka said. Who else would it be? Naruto asked. Iruka quickly went up to Naruto as Mizuki, his assistant, came in the class. Iruka went out and reached out his hand to see if he was saying things, as he touched Naruto's strand of his hair. When did this happen? He said. I'm confused. I saw you last week. What's with the change, and how is this even possible for your hair to grow so long? He asked. Well, it seems you should already give me a headband, Naruto said. You see, I learned a small genjutsu to hide my real appearance, and I've been wearing it the entire time, and not even you could see through it. So that means you should already give me a headband and promote me to Genin, right? Are you for real? You're telling me that you learned a genjutsu to trick us? Especially me? Yes. Iruka was taken aback He didn't know what to say because the truth was staring him right in the face. How did Naruto change so quickly? Iruka then heard a sigh. This is all so troublesome, Iruka-sensei. If you're gonna worry about Naruto looks the entire day, the day is not gonna go on. You're probably right, Shikamaru, said Iruka. Don't go back sleeping, said Iruka, as Shikamaru sighed. I should have just kept my mouth shut. Troublesome, he thought. Iruka walked off, just looking at Naruto strangely, as he couldn't understand how Naruto changed so quickly. Meanwhile, Ino was just looking at him. She couldn't understand either. As she looked over at Sasuke to see him not even paying attention to Sakura even though she was talking. She then looked back at Naruto. Hey Naruto, she said. Huh? What is it? He asked. Oh, never mind, she said. You see? Unlike Sasuke, he answered people when they talk to him. Why was I even interested in Sasuke in the first place, she thought to herself. She shook her head as Iruka began to talk. Sasuke was glaring at Naruto as he still didn't understand what's up with the dope change. And even, the dope stopped even asking this bothersome fangirl out. It's like he took a completely 360 and just changed entirely. As Iruka finished up with his talking, so when I call your name, you will be instructed by me and Mizuki, he said. I wish you all the best of luck, he told them. As the names started to be called off, people coming out with smiles on their faces with their headbands, and people coming down with sad looks on their faces. As Naruto's name was called as he walked past Sakura. You'll never be as cool as Sasuke-kun, she said. But Naruto paid her no mind. She clenched her fist. Was he ignoring her? Don't worry. He's probably just trying to do that to make himself seem cool. So you'll go out with him or something. Don't pay him any mind, said near Sakura. Yeah, that's right. He's still a baka, she said. As Naruto went around there, the moment he stepped inside, Mizuki was looking at him with so much hate. But Naruto didn't even pay the man any attention. Because if he turned to look at the man would simply turn his head. I wonder, how would this go down, Naruto thought. Did you hear me, Naruto? Iruka said. Oh, sorry about that. What was that? He asked. I said, the 3 basic things to perform to pass the academy is the shuriken throwing, the transformation, and the clone technique. There are 5 shurikens and 5 kunais. Try your best to get the target in the center, he said. Walking over, he picked up 4 kunais and 4 shurikens. Naruto, what are you doing? Iruka said. You can't handle that much. As Naruto simply smirked and released them all. Mizuki and Iruka was taken aback when all of them hit dead in the center, bundling up, as he picked up the final ones and thrust them, hitting perfectly in the center, making the other one sent flying away. As Mizuki had to duck, as a shuriken nearly slashed right in his face. As it managed to take off some of his hair as he growled at Naruto. Naruto, how did you do that? Iruka asked. Well, I've been practicing, Naruto said. As Iruka just looked at him. Well, the transformation. Smoke erupted around Naruto. When the smoke cleared, the third Hokage was standing there. Iruka and Mizuki was yet again shocked. Did he just perform hand signs? Said Mizuki. Naruto, what just happened? Iruka asked. You didn't weave any hand signs. How did you do that? Well, I have been practicing hard, Naruto said. I guess it has been paying off. As he returned back to normal. So I guess a clone technique is next. Iruka looked at Naruto with a small frown, as he knew that Naruto was never good at this jutsu. Well, I can do a lot better, Naruto said as he placed his hand in a cross seal. No, Naruto, don't do that, he said. I don't know how you learned that technique, but that technique takes too much of the user's chakra. But that is impossible for a genin, right? Said Iruka. Naruto simply smirked. Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, he said, as several poof went off, surprising Mizuki and Iruka, as they saw dozens of Naruto in the class, who were looking at them. Iruka looked at his clipboard, as he rubbed his eyes. He shook his head a few times. Here, he said, as he gave Naruto a headband. I don't need to say anything else. I don't think I need to. Because that was simply just amazing. Naruto smiled to himself. Well, thank you, he said. No. Keep on working hard, Naruto, because it's really paying off. If you were showing these skills in the academy, you would have been the top of the class, not Sasuke. You really surprised me, Naruto. I must say, before you go, can I see that genjutsu you said that you used to trick us? Oh, that, said Naruto as he placed his hands together. Well, he wasn't really using that genjutsu, it was just a clone. But he figured that Iruka might ask for that. Meanwhile, on top of the roof, a clone was sitting there, in his normal form. His hair short, and his orange, as Naruto slammed his hands together. With a poof, Naruto substituted the clone right away. There it is, Naruto said. Iruka got up and poked Naruto. As Mizuki raised his hand. Release! But nothing happened. This is impossible. How can a genin genjutsu be this dense for me not be able to release it? You probably did it wrong. Try again, Naruto said. As Iruka raised his hand this time. Release! As the smoke filled the area, and the real Naruto appeared with his long hair. It seems like you did it wrong, Mizuki. What? No, I didn't, said Mizuki. What the hell just happened, he thought. Well, Naruto, congratulations, he said. Oh, thanks, Naruto said. Well, aren't you gonna put it on, Iruka asked. Oh yeah, Naruto says, he tied around his waist, making it sit right on his waist, as he preferred his hair to be lashed out over his head like this. He didn't like his headband blocking it. He loved when his hair covered down his eyes. It looked much cooler that way. As Naruto stepped out, Sakura laughed when she saw nothing on Naruto's forehead. It seems like he failed, as Sasuke smirked. I knew the dope was nothing, he said. Look, said Ino, as they looked at his waist. Damn it, he passed. Huh. I guess he's not a worthless baka after all, she thought to herself. Sasuke said nothing, he just sat down. For the rest of the day, everything went off rather smoothly. Only 3 students from the class failed. No one in the prime, original genins, as they were sent off, told to return back tomorrow to hear who was going to be their instructors. And with that, Naruto headed towards the Forest of Death. Arriving in the Forest of Death, Naruto smirked. So this again, he said. He had to jump away dodging 3 kunais. As he then felt something flash beside him, he ducked as he twisted his body around, grabbing one of the person's hand. As Anko flipped over Naruto and pulled the kunai and placed at his throat. She then felt something poke her. I must say, impressive. You're no ordinary kid, are you? I don't know what's up with you, but I can tell that for a fact. You're something rather special. As Naruto moved his kunai, well, I have to be on my guard. As Anko hugged him, he left so quickly she didn't get to hug him first time. As she started to squeeze his face right in her luscious boobs. But Naruto was having no problem with that. As Anko saw it again, the kid wasn't getting flustered or anything. In fact, he was enjoying himself. Well, she thought he kind of deserved it. After lifting that huge burden off of her, she wouldn't pry him away so quickly. But he took the cake when he started to shake his head and motorboat her boobs as she pushed him away. Alright, that's enough, she said. You know, you're kind of a pervert. Pervert? Or someone just enjoy the human's body. Most of the female's body, he said. I must say, you're just something different, she said. So, how are you feeling, Naruto asked. Wonderful, she said, knowing that I'm no longer linked to that pedophile freak. It's just a nice experience, a nice, wonderful feeling, which I all have to thank to you, she said. As Naruto nodded, we just have to go by the promise, okay? For you not to tell anyone until I tell you that it's ready. I told you I promise, and I won't break that no matter what. She then smiled. So you managed to graduate, huh? You doubted me, Naruto asked. Well, judging from your skill of throwing jutsu, I must say, If you would have failed the exam, I would have been rather disappointed, she said. So, I'm not judging you, she said. Naruto then stopped for a second. What's wrong, she asked. Oh, nothing, he said. But in fact, Naruto just got the memory of one of his clones. Kai, one of his classmates who failed, was just talking to Mizuki. It seems that the bastard is using someone else. I just came to check up on you and see if you were okay. Well, I am fine, she said, that smile on her face. Well then, you know you never come by my house. Yujiro's gonna probably cooking tonight. So, if you want to come, you can come, Naruto said. But, where do you live, she asked. Oh, behind the Hokage's monument, Naruto said. You would see it. Just look for the gate with a strange symbol on the front of it. And I'll let you in, okay? Why are you being so nice to me, kid, she said. You've done so much already. I just feel like helping you, Naruto said. After all, what can I say? Helping a hot, beautiful lady like yourself, it brings me happiness. Anko didn't know why, but her cheeks got slightly red by that. How could someone be making her get flustered? That was just strange to her. She was the one who usually make people flustered. But for this kid, she can't. As she cursed him for that. Well, see ya, Naruto said. And with that he flashed away. Sonshin, she said. He knew the Sonshin as well? Just what exactly is this kid, she thought. Meanwhile, Naruto, what can I do for you? Asked Sarutobi, as he looked at Naruto with a keen eye. It seems Iruka was right, you have changed. Well, I've hardly seen you lately. But looking at you now, I can tell. Why with the big change, he asked. Well, you do look more like a ninja. I must say I'm impressed. Well, I thought I might take up a new look, Naruto said. But it's nice to see you, old man, Naruto said, with a sweet smile on his face. So what can I do for you, Sarutobi asked. Oh, there is a traitor in the village. Sarutobi's eyes went wide hearing that. What did you just say, he asked. Oh, you see, you know Mizuki, right? Yes, I do. The academy assistant for Iruka. Well, he's tricking one of my classmates called Kai to steal the Forbidden Scroll. What? How do you know this, Naruto? How do you get this information? As Sarutobi was shocked to hear that. Well, I overheard them. But instead of charging like an idiot, I decided to come to you first. Because I have a plan. Naruto, no. I can get information for you. What do you mean by that? Well, you see, just listen to me, Naruto said. A few minutes later, Kai was in the forest. Damn it, I can't believe I failed the test, he thought to himself. I know I have to be out here. I can't learn any of this, he said, looking at the Forbidden Scroll. As the place was not well guarded, but seeing that his mother was a secretary, he has been to the Hokage Tower a lot, so getting the scroll wasn't something hard to do. As he scratched the back of his head, as there was nothing in this scroll that he can learn, these things are just too high class. He then heard footsteps. As he got up, it's probably he couldn't get to finish a sentence, as something hit him in the back of the neck, as he collapsed over, but before he could fall, Naruto caught him by the back of his shirt, as he placed the boy down gently. Looking at the boy one time, Naruto held his hand together, as he transformed to Kai. A few hours later, Mizuki was looking around. Kai, where are you? He said. Oh, right here, Mizuki sensei, he said. I did it. As Kai reached up, I learned a C rank win style. So now can I pass? Yes, of course. Just hand me the scroll. Nah, I don't think so. As Mizuki turned, Naruto? What are you doing here? He asked. Well, I heard this ruckus going on out here. And I saw Kai. We spoke. And there's no test about him to steal a scroll and you will make him pass. And how do you know that? Kai don't believe him, said Mizuki. He's just trying to trick you. You know, after all, your parents told you to stay away from him, right? Because that boy is a monster. A monster? Said Kai. Yes, he is. Naruto clenched his fist. What are you talking about? Well, I believe it's time that you know, Naruto. You see, you heard about the beast that attacked the village all those years ago. Well, you see, you are that beast. What? Yes, Kai, he is that beast. And you need to stay away from him. He's a monster. He kills so many people. And if you don't be careful, he's gonna kill you too. Why are you saying those things, Naruto said? Because it's true. Seeing that I'm done with this village, I'm gonna be taking the scroll now and leaving. You're done with the village, said Kai, as Naruto held down his head. Yes, I am. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a shame to tell someone my grand plan, seeing that it's just you kids here. You see how long I've been working for Lord Orochimaru. You probably haven't heard of him, but you've probably heard of the Sanins in class, right? One of the best Sanins around, who is gonna give me my rightful seat as its second man in command when I gave him that scroll. You got that, said Kai, out loud to no one. As Naruto then poofed away. Mizuki was confused as hell. That was until 4 Anvus flashed around him as they grabbed Mizuki vigorously, shocking the hell out of him. Yeah, I did, said Sarutobi, as he walked out. Hokage-sama, said Mizuki, as Sarutobi patted Kai on the head as he poofed and revealed Naruto. You brat, he said. You tricked me? As Sarutobi waved his hand as the Anvus took him away. Sarutobi then looked at Naruto. Naruto, what he said about you being the fox. Don't worry about it, Naruto said. What do you mean? Well, I'm not an idiot, you know. I kind of put that together a long time ago. Huh? Well, I've been reading a book about Fuinjutsu. Naruto raised his shirt as he channeled chocolate to his stomach, and I found this. You know how to make your seal show? Yeah, when I found out about it, I figured why the people always look at me with those hateful eyes, calling me a monster and demon. And I read some good information and overheard some people talking that Bijus are beings of pure energy that cannot be killed. So I figured that the 4th Hokage probably seal it in a child or something like that. That's the best way to use Fuinjutsu, by sealing a beast into someone more younger, so the seal can grow with them as well. Yes, Sarutobi said. So you knew all along? Yeah, but I came to terms with it, so you don't have anything to worry about. Sarutobi looked at Naruto. Something was off about him. Something just different, but he cannot put his finger on it. Well, you do know that you're not the beast, right? You, or his jailer. Yeah, 100%, Naruto said. I told you I've already come to terms with that, and I'm fine. Well, okay then, said Sarutobi. I must say, I'm really surprised. Well then, how about you treat me to some Ichiraku ramen, Naruto said. Well, after what you did, after figuring out this, sure thing. And now that we got Mizuki, we can also get intel on Orochimaru. Sure, I'll get you 20 bowls of ramen, he said, as Naruto smiled. Alright then. Hope you have the money to back it up. What did you just say? Asked Sarutobi. Oh, I'm gonna eat a lot more than 20 bowls, Naruto said. What? Said Sarutobi. You heard me, old man, Naruto says he walked off. As Sarutobi sighed, this kid is going to bankrupt me, he said. As he watched Naruto walk off, he could tell. He had a feeling like something was off, something that Naruto wasn't telling him. But he figured to let the boy ease and breathe for now. It's not like he's going anywhere. But guys, to be in this episode right here, if you want to see the next part of this, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn the bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But for now, I'm out. See you guys soon. Peace.